Good evening and welcome to News 42. I'm Itumeleng Lethwaba.
And I'm Joshua Takawira. We'll cover the rights of unmarried fathers and how legislation has developed to ensure parental rights and responsibilities for unmarried fathers.
We will then cross over to Arnelda to elaborate more on the change of the legal drinking age from 21 to 18.
It has come to the attention of News 42 that people do not know the provisions of the Domestic Violence Act and the Sexual Offences Act.
We now have Arnelda elaborating more on the legal drinking age being changed.
Goeiemiddag kykers. Ek voer vandag 'n onderhoud met meneer Skosana oor die moontlike wysiging van die alkoholverbruikerswet van Suid-Afrika. By ons in die ateljee is meneer Skosana en sy lieflike vrou Precious. Itumeleng. Aangesien meneer Skosana nie Afrikaans magtig is nie, gaan ek gebruik maak van 'n tolk. Meneer Skosana, wat is die kennis van die alkoholverbruikerswet van Suid-Afrika?
Banyakotseba gore o tsebanga molao o tlo go tšhentšha wa jwala. Ke kwile gore ba tlo tšhentšha molao mo die newspaper le die TV. Meneer Skosana sê ja, hy dra wel kennis daarvan dat die wet gewysig kan word. Hy het dit in die koerante en op televisie gelees.
Meneer Skosana, wat is presies wat jy in die koerante gelees het en oor die TV gesien het?
Mr. Skosana, banyakotseba gore kine taba e o ikwile mo moyong le ka mo a bala dikoranta. Ya, ke kwile ba re ba nyaka tloša jwala jo mo go rekišwa go batho ka 18 years ba bo tšhentšhetša gore ngwana o kgone go reka jwala a sena 21. Meneer Skosana sê ja, hy het wel daarvan gelees dat hulle die ouderdom van 18 wil verander na 21 toe, dat kinders nie so maklik met drank in aanraking kan kom.
Wat sou jy sê is negatiewe argumente teenoor die verandering van die wet?
Mr. Skosana, ona no luburitse gore molao o ka thuša jwang. Wena o bona melao e tlo dira eng tše dimpe mo go bana ba. Ke bona gore ge molao ba ka o tšhentšha, bana ba 18 ba kgona go vouta. Bana ba 18 ba kgona go lwa ntweng ba hwela lefase la bona. Ga ba se ka kgona go rekwa, ba tla dira polane e nngwe ya go reka jwala. Ke mokana ba bagolo ba bona, botatagolo mao bona, ba tla ba gona mo gare ga bona. Nna ke bona gore e ka tla ya ba ntwa. Meneer Skosana sê dat hy verstaan as die wet sou verander dat daar baie negatiewe dinge gaan wees. Hy sê 'n persoon van 18 jaar kan stem. Hy kan vir sy land gaan veg. Hy kan sterf vir sy land. En as hy dit dan nie meer self gaan koop nie, gaan hy net ander weer vind. Hy gaan sy ouers betrek of van sy ouer broers en dit kan net baie onenigheid veroorsaak.
Meneer Skosana, indien die wet wel verander word na 21 jaar, wat sou jy sê is die voordele en die positiewe dele daarvan?
Mr. Skosana, banyakotseba gore ge ba ka tšhentšha molao ngwana a se ka kgona reka 18 a reka ka 21. Ke dilo tše tla go kgonagala go thiba dilo tše mpe mo go bana ba. Ge ba ka tšhentšha melao mo go 18 years to 21, ke a tshepa gore bana ba ka soka go reka jwala jo. Le taba tše tša gore bana ba taga ba dira di-accident, ba reipa, di ka tla di atla fase. Ke tshepa gore ge melao ba ka go kgona le bana ba kwa le jwala o senya jogo jo, ba tlo kgone go thuta ga botse ba tšwela pele mo lefaseng. Meneer Skosana sê dat hy dink dit sal 'n goeie ding wees, aangesien misdaad sal afkom, ongelukke kan verminder, goed soos verkrachting kan minder word. Dit gaan moeiliker wees vir die kinders om in die hande te kry en dat hy verstaan dat drank die mense se breinselle goed aantas en as dit sou verander word, kon dit dalk teweegbring dat die kinders beter kan studeer.
Meneer Skosana, dan laastens, u het die voor- en nadele genoem, maar wat sou u sê, of sou u sê, dat daar wel 'n verandering kon plaasvind indien die wet verander word?
Mr. Skosana, banyakotseba gore Drama felela, ge ba ka tla ba change melao e. E ka ba eng dilo tse di botse le tse di ping di tlo go tswelela mo go molaong. Ke bona gore ge ba ka change molao go tlo ba dilo tse di botse le tse dimpe di tlo go ba gona. Ntho e ba santse gore ba e dire a o thuse o change go rekwa ka mengwaga. Ba santse gore ba thuto bana ba sala ba banyanyane ba gola ba tseba melato e jwala e ka e dirang. Meneer Skosana sê dat hy verstaan die wet kan dalk help om van 18 na 21 toe te verander en dat dit positiewe en negatiewe uitwerkings kan hê. Ja. Maar hy sê dat as jy mooi sou dink, moet jy kinders van kleins af opvoed en grootmaak oor die voor- en nadele van die gebruik van alkohol en dat dit die moontlike oplossing kan wees en nie die verandering van die wet nie.
Stem volkome saam. Mr. en Ms. Skosana, Kialebuga Kudu Kudu. Ons skakel nou oor na die nuusatelier.
Our correspondent Joshua took to the streets, and this is what people had to say.
Okay, I just want to know your take on the male being victims of rape and being victims of domestic violence. Do you think that male can be raped, men can be raped? What's your take on that?
Well, men are raped. It has happened in the past, and I think if they feel violated in that respect, it should be addressed, you know, because they're also human beings, basically.
Okay, but what's your take? Do you think the law protects men as much as it does women?
Not really, because I don't think they put emphasis on it that much, because usually men aren't open about these kind of things happening to them, you know. But I hope the legislation does protect them in some sense, I guess. Yeah.
All right, but don't you think that's the reason why men don't report such cases? The fact that they do not know that the law protects them and stuff like that.
I think more than anything it's the embarrassment. I don't think it's got anything to do with the legislation involved behind it. Yeah.
On the basis that, amongst others, even the definition of rape is forceful penetration. Therefore, I do not understand how would a woman penetrate a man. That's how it is. And secondly, I think it's the societal norms that are there in society that indeed men would be actually more powerful than a woman. Therefore, it's not necessarily one would argue that it can be possible that a man is forcefully forced into actually erecting and having intercourse with a woman.
But do you think legislation protects men that are being raped as per se, like men that are being raped by women? If ever that's possible, do you think there has to be something that protects women, that protects men in that regard?
Once again, as we said, that the fundamental problem is how society views this whole situation. It therefore becomes problematic for a man to go to a police station, for example, to report such a case. And hence I believe that there is not enough legislation, there is not, in fact, any form of law or any form of campaigns and projects that are there to ensure and assist in ensuring that men actually bring about those cases ever they do exist.
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course, I think men can be raped by women. There's just a little bit of a catch there. That is that for the man to be raped, really, the man has to be aroused in some sense. So I think the only way you can feasibly say a male was raped was under some kind of force or duress, if he was maybe bound. And the skilled woman can obviously get the man to be aroused. So it's possible. Why they're not reporting it is possibly a matter of pride, or a belief that nobody would actually believe them.
Yeah.
There could be all sorts of reasons. I've never really spent much time dwelling on this, but to summarize, I think it is possible, but it is not as straightforward a case as a male raping a female.
Alright, but do you think the legislation does much to protect men that have been raped?
Unfortunately, I can't really answer that fully because I don't really know what the legislation or what the current laws are. I would be able to make an informed judgment on that.
Yes, male do get raped. I believe they do get raped. But the problem is they do not report it to the police. Number one, they may feel ashamed. It's difficult for a guy to go to another guy or maybe another woman to report the case that they are raped. But it does happen. And then also if you look at legislation before, they only catered for vaginal penetration without consent. That was rape. But now they do cater for guys, but it's difficult for them. It goes to the men who ping. It's very difficult for a guy to go report. And then you find the police would laugh at you. Like if you find some other guys, they've been laughed at for being raped by women. So they find it a bit difficult to report.
Okay.
The same goes for domestic violence as well. With domestic violence, there is domestic violence where a guy is being abused by the wife. Yeah, but that also is like the same with the rape as well. They find it difficult for them to go report. But I think it should also be reported as well. But the thing is, there should be training for the cops, for the police, for South African police services, because they do not. I don't think they know how to handle a guy coming to them, a male victim of domestic violence. They do not know how to handle that one. They need to be trained for that first, so that they feel comfortable to go report. Because for a guy being abused by a woman, like culturally, like in every culture as well, a guy needs to dominate in the home, like culturally. But if now they go and report the domestic violence thing, it becomes a problem for them as well to go report.
Section 2 of the Sexual Offences Act gives a definition of rape, and it states that, among other things, a person who unlawfully and intentionally commits an act which causes penetration to any extent whatsoever by the genital organs of that person into beyond the anus or genital organs of another, or any act which causes penetration to any extent whatsoever by the genital organs of another person into beyond the anus or genital organs of another person committing the act is guilty of the offense of rape. So it is evident from this definition of rape that men are also involved or included in the definition of rape. So it is possible that men can be raped, and therefore men are encouraged to go out there and report such cases. The Domestic Violence Act also gives a definition and also gives definition of domestic violence, and in that definition men are also included. So it is possible that men can be victims of such violence as well.
The Children's Act now recognizes the rights and responsibilities that unmarried fathers have towards their children born out of wedlock. We cross over to our correspondent Itumeleng.
Goedemiddag meneer van der Merwe. U is 'n ongetroude vader met 3 kinders. Kan u vir my sê hoe gereeld u hulle sien?
Ek sien hulle slegs gedurende Desember vakansies.
Wat is die redes hiervoor?
Elma verhoed my om hulle gereeld te sien.
Weet u dat u as 'n ongetroude vader regte het?
Nee, watter regte het ek?
Volgens die kinderwet het u outomatiese regte en verantwoordelikhede ten opsigte van u se kinders indien u in 'n permanente lewensverhouding met 'n vrou saamgebly het gedurende die geboorte van u se kinders. U self geïdentifiseer as die biologiese vader en u bygedra het tot die opvoeding en versorging van u se kinders.
Baie dankie vir die inligting. Ek sal beslis werk daarvan maak om help meer te sien.
Dankie vir u tyd en sterkte. Nou skakel ons oor die nuusateljee.
Yes, we've just received news that BA Law and BCom Law students are now allowed to vote for Law House representatives. We now cross over to Arnelda, live from the University of Pretoria.
Ona bianong remologo privat sa panghuta hure die students sa BA li BCom Law. Baso do mewa ku vote out die representative sa Law House. Die tamen sa playero di fedile rele bucha gelere libelezi.
Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you for watching and good night.